This is the part of the speech where I was going to tell you about this amazing work that we're lucky enough to drive. I was going to share some battle wounds. I was going to tell you about failures, because we've had them. I was also going to give you impressive stats, since everyone loves them. Thinking that that might inspire you to actually use more collaborative processes like human-centered design, but inspiration didn't seem to be enough. I felt like it was way more important to pull you back to my story, because I realized I finally had a chance as a child to tell the system what I needed then, especially since not much has changed in my hood. First, your refusal to collaborate is hurting me, and it's a choice. Not many of us are actually good at communication. This is why we suck at collaboration. We're so bad at it. We don't listen. We are already inserting our ideas and experiences and hijacking people's stories and realities before they even finish telling us them. I can imagine that's why it's hard for the world to share honestly right now. Maybe not listening is the link to why it's also hard to commit to the long-term relationships we need to work through the challenges that are going to come. Change is on the other side of the challenge. Change is moving through the challenge together. But we're scared of that, and we call it conflict. For many of you, when collaboration doesn't go right away, you quit. Please don't quit. Start over. Try again, because every time you quit, or don't even try, you become that adult that looked me in the eye, blamed the system, and walked away. Don't be a know-it-all. Stop it. I do it too. Fundraisers, investors, your view is narrow. Grassroots revolutionists, development workers, so is yours. Communities, so is yours. Mine is too. The more of an expert you are, the more narrow your solution will be. And the more you need a group of differently minded people to help you see the gaps in your best ideas. If you care about change that's beyond your own opinions, then you will start to play with the idea that it's not about being an expert. It's not about winning people over. It's not about buy-in. It's about getting different views on the table and seeing what emerges at the center of it. At the center is where transformation lives, and I'm not sure any of us have ever gotten there yet. As someone who works on innovation every day, meaningful innovation first comes from deepening our understanding and widening our perspectives first. If you are not listening to differently minded people, you are stopping change, and again, you become the adult that walks away from me. Stop thinking you are better than others around you. I am blown away. I am seriously blown away at how arrogant we are. We actually believe that we have enough understanding of another person's experience, let alone a community, the 1,000 of experiences that make us up, who we are and how we feel, that we could possibly solve a challenge for them without them. Stop calling me a beneficiary of your knowledge, of your great ideas, or your resources. Invite people in who are experiencing those challenges, and make sure that they make up at least 50% of your tables, not one. Because we have understanding your books and your degrees will never be able to teach you. Maslow's hierarchy of needs is not only outdated, but it's not true. Even when my body was being abused, even when I was hungry, I was always building my self-esteem. I was always thinking about the future. I was always self-actualizing. In my hardest moments is when I was actually most creative and expressive. I found my voice there because it wasn't allowed anywhere else, and that's something to talk about. The fact is, my voice and my agency was never yours to take. And it's hard for me to see communities fighting so hard to get their voice back. What makes me even more sad is that some of those communities and some of us have forgotten our voice because it wasn't allowed. My life doesn't fit in your tick box. Stop minimizing what matters to me by hollow evaluations. Stop taking time away from my social workers to write reports literally no one reads. She could have been spending 20 more minutes with me, and that is everything to a 10-year-old. The few programs and the few well-trained youth workers who were around in my life were not failures, but for sure your evaluations would have said so. Besides the fact that your questions are all wrong, your need to prove yourself instantly is crazy. You can't measure healing and growth. It's not linear, remember? Your evaluations also don't capture the moments that matter because many of your programs are flawed by design. You haven't asked me what kind of program I want in the first place. It's a systems problem. It's a big one. People sticking with me mattered. People still showing up when my anger got the best of me and I broke windows. Those people mattered. Not being kicked out of programs for bad behavior, which was really just pain, and being able to try again. That's why I'm resilient, and that's why a broken system didn't have an output of a broken adult. Money doesn't matter as much as you think. Even when I was 10, I was struck at how the world could be so full of money and resources all around me. I could see them, sometimes I could touch them, sometimes I was allowed to be a part of them for just a while, but I could never really have them. Do you remember the towering trash bag sitting next to me in the car? Whatever was in that trash bag was not what I needed to survive. It was a social worker who sat on the end of a hospital bed after 2 years of working with me and said, "Don't give up, Katie. I know you're here for a reason. I love you." The stipend for clothes you gave me meant nothing since I felt invisible anyway, and you made sure I did. I was given dozens of diaries to write in, but no one to talk about what was in them with. I was given teddy bears sometimes when I was put in a psych ward because there was no more foster homes, as if hugging the teddy bear would have helped me somehow. The truth is that your shallow material things made me feel worse. They made me feel more invisible. What's worse is it helped the people who are not changing the system feel better. So nothing changed. Resources are sometimes extremely important, don't get me wrong, but they are not the only things that are important. There are also elements inside of us and the spaces between us that have great power. Expand what resources means, and let's build on what matters. What matters is people. What matters is a sense of belonging. And finally being able to build the world's capacity to listen. Please, start experimenting. It's fun. Lately, I have noticed that when I'm sitting still, my body never actually can calm all the way down. I'm curious about it, this vibration that moves me ever so slightly. I'm not sure if it comes from the trauma that now lives in my bones, but I know that it fuels forward my work. And I think it's important. But that vibration also very easily brings back to me the reality that kids right now are going through the same sexual violence I did, waking up being called stupid just like I did every day. You know my general story, but I remember the details. It has to stop. Please, share risk with everyone else around you, because that is what collaboration is as well. Test your ideas way more quickly than you are. Work with people who are fueled by the same vision, the one that lives outside their egos, and start over as many times as you feel like you need to. I give you permission. Meaningful solutions will come much faster this way, and we are wasting time. Seriously, play more. Like last night. This work is hard. It's never over. Find time to laugh and be silly so the work doesn't drain you so much that you have to leave. This is a reality for my life right now. Play more. Being a kid is so far away from me now. But sometimes I still feel like I'm sitting in the cop car, breathing heavy, and now I'm banging my head against the window on purpose. I'm still profoundly sad. It's hard for me to see us still blaming the system because I know that the space between you and I is the system. We can't see it, so we blame it. And even if it's invisible, it's powerful. That's why I have hope. I have a lot of hope. I have hope for what's next. In fact, I have so much hope, I built a company around this hope. I ensure that daily I get to see all types of people coming together and standing in radical responsibility and moving towards radical collaboration, leaving power and leaving pain at the door. Another habit I have cultivated is making things look really easy. But I think it's important that I don't do that here. Writing the speech, saying it to you has been a hard process, and it's also been important. It shows the reality of my story, but also the story of many others in detail. So from the bottom of our hearts, I want to say, thank you for listening.